Russian Lassie, Mr. All Even in NYC. He's so big. They call him boss. He's a boss. All even. He's so bad.
All Even Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. You catch me on Instagram and X at All Even Podcast. TikTok at All Even Media. You listen to the show on podcast, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I'm all over the place.
Woke me up gentle this morning.
There's no Jimmy.
Called
Shouts
me
to Claw.
righteous.
Silent Assassin is here, though.
Yep.
World looking.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Very
How
good.
are you?
I stretch my arms.
I feel older
Yep.
This day
because I am.
righteous.
Another year.
Another year
Righteous.
around the sun. So, I mean, look, I'm not mad. I had a good birthday. You know what I mean?
No bitch ass.
But there's so much stuff going on in the news right now that I can't even be happy. I can't. You know, I love being on the show. I love talking my mess, but I can't be happy. There's too much going on. So we're going to get into it. You know, Stefon Diggs is found not guilty. That was interesting. There's more Mike Vrabel news. We love that. NBA playoffs are going on. There's some basketball stuff that's happening right now too. Austin Rivers and Draymond Green are in a spat. Draymond Green has had a rough week. You know, he beefing with Rivers. He did some stuff to Charles Barkley on his side of the NBA. I gotta say something. I gotta kick his back in. We'll discuss Austin Reeves with the Lakers. We'll discuss Joel Embiid with the Sixers. We'll discuss Jaylen Brown. We'll discuss Jayson Tatum. A lot going on. Maybe some irrelevant news of the week. I don't know. And then the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week.
Dummy. Yeah.
So, before we get into everything, what are your thoughts about Stefon Diggs getting off?
Yeah, I was
I
watching.
won't even say, let me rephrase. Not getting off, but he was found not guilty on the strangulation and the assault charges. So, thoughts about that?
Yeah, I was watching some of the court videos of her. She's a chef, right? She was.
Yes.
And she's kind of getting bombarded with hate just because of obviously the proof or whatever kind of came out of her being recorded and the text messages.
Yeah.
And obviously, then again, he's not found guilty, which obviously is a good thing for him and all that. But Diggs has definitely been an interesting person, in the world. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, you have to take it serious.
Yep.
But as we've seen, she's kind of, I don't know what her kind of motive is, just get extra money, because then she's saying, oh, she didn't even get paid when they got receipts and she did get paid. There's the video of her dancing when people were like, oh, I thought this is when after the alleged assault happened. And now
I think it was a day after or something like that.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, well, if this happened, why are you looking all happy and stuff? So, obviously...
Let's stay there for a second, though. Because even if something were to happen, that doesn't necessarily mean somebody's going to be in a dark corner somewhere with nothing happening. That does happen, right? But everybody reacts differently. So I don't want to look at that as a smoking gun. Everybody is portraying it as that was the smoking gun. And maybe it was, but for me, it's just like there's many women that get assaulted out there, and they have to internalize this and go about their life because either they know that people are not going to believe them. There might be a high profile person where it's that person's word against hers. Like, there's a lot going on
Yeah.
that people compartmentalize differently. You know what I mean? So that was one thing that kind of popped out. I was just like, I mean, okay, I understand that it might look a certain way to people, but you can't really assume.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Based on just that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure like there's still stuff going on with the extra stuff that was also in the lawsuit or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's kind of not really helping herself with these allegations she put out on Diggs. So I don't know, we'll see like how it fully plays out and if anything comes out of it. If she gets something or if he countersues her and all this stuff for like defamation, and I'm sure there's stuff that he could pull as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's been in the news a lot this past year or last year. And yeah, just it was interesting to kind of headline to see like he was in this type of situation, but
do
so far he's let off.
Yeah, do you think any team goes after him now?
I don't know, because like I said, like he's definitely an interesting person to have on a team. A lot comes with him, but I feel like with football it's kind of forgiving.
Yeah.
So if he's still able to kind of contribute, I'm sure a team was definitely going to try him out, give him some calls, and have that open. I feel like we've seen worse, and the player still gets called back and is able to go back on the field.
Right.
So I think he'll get some calls.
Yeah, I think he will, just because the verdict came down, and it's like if the verdict came down and there's no reason why he shouldn't get any looks or get signed. Maybe the Patriots take another shot at him, because I believe that they might have framed it like it was cap issues, but they tried to get in front of this thing. You know what I'm saying? Just because they didn't know how it was gonna go, based on whatever evidence they had, and so I can see a potential reunion, that way. But yeah, it's we never talked about it. I love the way how we reacted things on the show, just because like when things are reported or alleged, we don't have conversations on it based on, I'm not going to make an assumption either way. I think the default thing to do is to actually believe the women when they do, accuse somebody of something as heinous as assault, right? So that's always the default, to go there. But you still want to make sure that all the evidence comes out before you go ahead and say anything, because it's one of those things where you gotta walk a fine line, because you don't want to upset the apple cart either way. You know what I mean? So that's what happened in the case, and they found him not guilty. So what are we gonna say? It's I'm not gonna kick her back in. I'm not gonna do none of that stuff. It's just one of those things where it's just like, court is what you can prove. And, from what I read with all the, the happenings in the 2 days of the trial, like, she just didn't come off as very credible.
Yeah, she didn't come with a lot of favor on her end.
Yeah.
Like, everything that's kind of been said out loud, like, there's just, like I said, there's been a receipt for it.
Yeah.
And she's getting asked questions by his lawyer or whatever, and she's just got no answers. It's like, I have this here, like, in proof that, it's just like with the payment, like, he had messaged her, paid her, said that he didn't pay her for 2 weeks or whatever it is, but there was the invoice or
The
whatever.
invoice,
filled. And she's just like, I want to know, like, who's her lawyer?
Like,
She needs a new lawyer.
who instructed you on some bullshit?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so, you know, it's just it's tough, man. Like, you know, and you see a lot of people say, oh, well, you know, that's why you can't really trust people because, you know, they always like to put and I get that part of it, because as an athlete, it's like you always are gonna have people try to extort you, no matter for what, right? And you have to be extra careful when you're around the opposite sex, because it's like that is a real, not easy way, but that's a very vulnerable place where you can be extorted. You know, based on whatever type of relationship you have with the opposite sex, especially when you're a high-profile person. It's
100%.
rough. And it goes both ways, too. You don't hear it a lot on the other side, but it applies both ways. You know?
For me personally, like when I see like a lot of content with athletes on like the video end, like who's their videographer, who's their photographer, and I would say if it's a man, it's primarily another man, just because of I feel like they don't want to run into those situations because something can happen, and it turns out and it's all true, found true and stuff. But then there's like these situations where, for whatever reason, she had to come out and said these statements and found out he's not guilty. Like that also happens and can ruin your career.
Yes.
So why would the man also want that?
Right.
You know what I mean? So you just have to kind of know your people, kind of do word of mouth. I know like Jalen Hurts has like a full female team.
Yeah.
Nothing's come out about him, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, just also being, I feel like, more of just like a decent human being and not really being known as a type of person. Like I'm not saying that Diggs is like that, but he's definitely been talked about a lot.
He's considered like a bad boy, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, you just gotta vet people, you know, and even when you vet people and think that you found somebody good, you know, you will end up going the other way. Moving on. We are going to go ahead and segue into it. This is like a weekly occurrence, so we're gonna have to come up with a name, like As Diana Turns or something like that. More evidence about Dianna Russini and Mike Vrabel's passionate affair. Let's roll it.
Vrabel and Dianna Russini were apparently hanging out while she was pregnant with her first baby. Yeah, if you thought this whole scandal was over, not so fast, because we have learned that the Patriots head coach, back when he was the Tennessee Titans head coach, and the NFL insider in June of 2021 were in Tennessee, where they, we're told, rented a boat for what seemed to be a romantic excursion out on the water. Now, it was just them on the boat. They weren't part of a bigger group. It was just Mike and Diana, and we were told that they were out on the water for about 2 to 3 hours. Now, there was a crew that was there operating the boat, and we have been told from everybody that we have spoke to working this story that there was not any visible PDA, so it didn't necessarily look like they were involved in a relationship together. But the bottom line is that Diana had just gotten married the year before and again was pregnant in June and then gave birth the next month to her first child. So she was pregnant at the time, and of course Mike Vrabel has children and he had been married since 1999. Spouses nowhere to be seen, just Mike and Diana. And to that point, we have been told that it seemed like they were being very cautious, especially when anybody had out a phone or a camera. A matter of fact, we have been told that they wanted to get a group shot with everybody, but Diana said no. She rejected the request to take a photograph.
Oh.
As for Coach Vrabel, he said, okay, I'll take one shot with the entire crew, but you've got to promise me that you're not going to post it anywhere on the internet. Now, we have obtained that photograph here years later. Of course, this has become the biggest scandal in the last few years in the entire sports world. Russini.
So, now that we know this, it's very interesting how she didn't want to take any photos. So we're just friends hanging out. I want to take photos of my friends. We hanging out because guess what? If I'm hanging out with my friends, then I know that my significant other knows I'm hanging out with my friends. So there's no reason why a picture would not be.
Like it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely. I actually looked up to just double check, but that the first son she did have was the Michael. So I don't know if that was.
Listen, I like to stir the tea.
Yeah.
They had a side-by-side picture of Mike Vrabel's kid and Dianna Russini's kid.
Similar.
Listen, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like, again, this is all just like morally bankrupt shit. But if I'm the husband, I am pulling up to see Mike Vrabel. I don't care if I lose the fight, but I have to come see you. I gotta spin the block on you a little bit because there's a code that you don't cross. Like, I can see that if she was like broken up with her significant other and she's pregnant, that happens. And Mike Vrabel is married and now he's having a side thing, but that she's married. That she's with child. And you're still out there gallivanting with her.
Yeah.
Knowing that she's 7 months pregnant, about to pop at any moment. And you still out there clanging and banging. That, to me, is morally bankrupt.
Yeah. Like, once we talk about it today, like, that definitely adds a lot to the story. And just, cause there's, like, cheating is not illegals and all this and whatever. But adding that to it, it's just, like, it makes you look even more crazy.
Yeah, morally bankrupt.
Yeah. Cause she just got married a year ago. Now
Right.
she's pregnant. And you're still like, oh, I don't care. Well, also, too, like, you have a family on the side as well.
Right.
So it's like, what's going on in your head that's, like, you're not going to get caught into, like, that it's okay.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'm telling you, if I'm Dianna Russini's husband, boy, I'm doing a DNA test ASAP.
Yeah.
And if that kid ain't mine, look, I understand that I spent a lot of time with this kid. But him and Diana gonna be on the corner. I'm sorry. Like, that's foul, man. That is, I think that's every man's worst nightmare, to have a child with a woman and then find out that you've been lied to, that it's not your kid.
Yeah. Even to, like, the whole situation where he's probably still, like, on a high. Like, he just got married. He's like, I'm going to start a family with this woman.
Yeah.
And then turns out, allegedly, our own alligator, like, it couldn't even be his.
Right.
Like, his life is just starting with her. And it's literally, like, could be, like, a whole lie, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Farce.
Yeah.
No wonder he wanted to meet his wife in Utah. I told you, I mapped it out last week. He was just like, hear me out. 2 wives. Yeah. You can have like 4 days. I could give her 3. Like, I don't know. What is? Listen, the Patriots are gonna do whatever they do, but to have this as your lead scandal going into the season, that's just gonna continue to grow legs, and they better hope that the Patriots do well, because if they don't, oh man. This is going to be headline news every single place.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is terrible, man. Like, if I'm an owner, obviously, you got to look at it. Every team has their own like morality clause or whatever it is, but it's just like, this is your head coach, man. Like, this is some dastardly shit that your head coach is doing. You got your star player doing this shit, okay, cool, but your head coach that's supposed to be setting an example as to how you want to be and how you want to play, and you have to trust this person going into this season. It's just like, it just looks crazy. It just does.
It's like, if his like own wife can't trust him, why should
the
someone
players?
Doesn't have any tie really to him other than he's our head coach and stuff. Like, I wouldn't really necessarily want that type of person leading me or setting an example on like the younger players and the team as a whole.
Yeah, he's a snake.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're
I
doing
can't
this to
trust
your
anything you
family.
say.
Yeah, it's like, you're doing this to your kids and your wife, your family. Like, I don't believe that you have my back in any situation were to come up, or that you're really riding for the team, because clearly you have enough time to go and do this on the side
Facts.
for at least 6 years. So.
Banging preggers. Like, nasty work. Nasty work. Did you hear the news about Aaron Rodgers?
No.
Man's coming back. Okay? That's what I like to hear. I don't care about all the negativity around Aaron Rodgers. Oh, he's 42 years old. Oh, he's over the hill. Oh, why is he coming back? They got 2 young quarterbacks already. Oh, it's Aaron Rodgers. Okay? You let him decide what he wants to do. So there's some contract that it's like an exclusive rights between the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers that, he's flying in to meet the team, visit the team, and, kind of work out the structure of the deal for 2026. So all signs point that he's going to return. And, it's a reunion with him and Mike McCarthy. So we'll see what happens, man. I like the fact that Aaron is playing another year. I know that he was going back and forth with it, at the same time last year. I don't know how long he's going to play, if this is going to be the swan song, if this is it. But, I'm always going to be excited to see an Aaron Rodgers play, man. Like, I wish he was still a Jet. I do. It fell apart. Imagine if the Jets had all of these picks now. Put Aaron Rodgers there. It's great. Now I got to deal with Geno Smith. It's awful. Awful. So we'll see what happens with that, man. I know a lot of Steelers fans, Bryson, shouts to Bryson. He's not happy. He's not a big Aaron Rodgers fan. He's not happy about this whole dragged out situation. A lot of Steelers fans are the same way. And, it's very split, divided in regards to how people think about it. But it's a results-oriented business. If Aaron Rodgers can go out there and lead you to the playoffs, what does it fucking matter? You know what I mean? Like, what does it matter if you're not all locked in on the guy? If he can get you to the playoffs, and him and Mike McCarthy have won a Super Bowl together, it's been a long time. It's been 16 years. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that they don't have that history, that they could be able to possibly catch lightning in a bottle. Who the hell knows? We don't know.
It's like, what else, like, are your options? Like, if you want to try and win, you have that history there.
Yeah.
Despite him being, he's an older guy, but, like, why not? Like, you got nothing to lose.
No,
so.
you really don't. Like, you have the young guys that you could turn to, but there's no tape, there's no track record there, there's no history. So it's best to have the veteran be the bridge and be the mentor, because he's a big mentor to the guys that were on the locker room last year in regards to the quarterback room. So you got 2 new guys, or I think it's 1 new guy. Now you can be able to kind of continue to mentor those young guys in the QB room and help them get to the next step, help them get to the next level. So when you're not around, obviously you can be able to pass the reins to them if the organization does decide that they want to go ahead and go with either one of these young guys that are on the team. So I don't see that there's any bad stuff. There's nothing negative here for Aaron Rodgers to return. I think he had a pretty decent year last year, and they made the playoffs. And, they didn't play that well in the playoffs, obviously, but, playoffs are playoffs. as a Jets fan, I would sign up for that. So, moving on. NBA basketball. There has been a lot of stuff that has happened in the news. I kind of feel bad for Draymond. Because, sometimes, you get caught up in a situation and it's just like, well, how'd you get here? Well, Draymond Green put himself here. Austin Rivers is now a media person. He has podcasts. He speaks his mind. He's very, very opinionated. And he was on Dan Patrick's show. And he was talking about what Draymond had discussed on his podcast. He said that him and Steve Kerr have had, their battles, and, he respects Steve Kerr, loves Steve Kerr. And, Steve Kerr has done so much for him in his career. He wouldn't be a Hall of Famer without Steve Kerr. He wouldn't have the success and championships without Steve Kerr. But at the same time, there's another side to it. Like, he feels that Steve Kerr held him back from being a better individual player. Like, he could have been able to put up better numbers as a player if it wasn't for Steve Kerr. But at the same time, Steve Kerr made him a champion. So he's forever grateful. And Austin Rivers was just like, said, you're talking negative about the guy that literally helped create this dynasty. Steph, Clay, you, Steve Kerr, Iguodala, Sean Livingston. The list goes on of great players that were there that helped develop this culture. And you're upset because you think that you would have had a better individual statistical career. So what does it matter? You're a Hall of Famer because of what he designed and what you sacrificed to do so for the team. Leave it there. Like, there's a lot of players that have sacrificed. Like, and that's the point. So he was saying it's just like there's no reason for him to be able to like go in like that. So Draymond responds and was just like, oh, well, it's kind of funny how, you're shocked about, what I said when your NBA career wasn't nothing. And I'm paraphrasing at this point. And he was just like, your daddy gave you the biggest bailout, since Donald Trump. And what he means by that, because Austin Rivers is the son of Doc Rivers. Austin Rivers was a very good player in college as well as high school. Went to Duke for a year, got drafted, was a number 10 or 11 pick in that draft with Draymond. Draymond was a second-round pick. And his NBA career just it didn't pan out how it was supposed to. He had a decent career, averaged like 8.5 points a game, was a role player, went to the Clippers, got a bag from the Clippers, and was able to become a pretty decent role player in his time with the Clippers, just because he was able to play a lot freer. He had a choice of going to New York and decided to go to the Clippers just because his father was there, and he was able to play the style of basketball that was more conducive for his style, his skill set. So he went to the Clippers. So this is what his response was after Draymond had said what he said.
Come on, Draymond. This is ridiculous. Seriously. Ridiculous. But you know what? I'm going to address it because you crossed the line and you were mad disrespectful for whatever reason. You've been around too long. We both were drafted in the same class. The fact that you don't have the wherewithal to do your due diligence and actually understand I was being highly complimentary of you on the Dan Patrick show. But it's you, and I shouldn't be surprised. You always act irrationally, emotionally immature. And your anger always puts you in hot water. So here I am having to address a video of you belittling my career. First off, Draymond, we weren't the same players in high school. I don't care about our numbers being similar. I did it at the national level, the top level. Hence why I got the Naismith Award, and I got pretty much every award you could think of in high school. I was ranked number 1. You were ranked, I don't know. So cut it out. Next. College, you actually were a really good college basketball player, but It's hard to compare because I was only there for 6 months. Something you could never do. Talk about I was, one of the featured guys. No, I was the guy. I led my team in scoring. I was first team All-ACC, freshman player of the year, lottery pick. Stop. Next. The NBA, hey, man, you got it, Dre. I mean, listen, I played in the NBA for more than 10 years, more than a decade, but 11 years, but I'm not a Hall of Famer like you. So I'll give you that credit. All right? You got it. But let's peel back that onion and understand why. Easy, Tiger. Okay? You have the delusion, the non-wherethal, the irony of you saying I'm part of the biggest bailout in NBA history. Draymond, you are the luckiest basketball player I think I've ever seen, especially in modern day history. Let's talk about that. You were drafted to a franchise with the Hall of Fame front office, Bob Myers, Hall of Fame coach, Steve Kerr, the greatest shooter of all time, and perhaps a top 5 player of all time, Steph Curry, Hall of Famer. One of the greatest shooters, top 5 shooter of all time, another Hall of Famer, Klay Thompson. The Swiss Army knife himself, the guy who could do a little bit of everything on the floor, Andre Iguodala, another Hall of Famer. I know, keep up, it's a lot of talent. Not to mention one of the most lethal scorers of all time and arguably a top 10 player of all time, Kevin Durant, the same guy you chased off because of this, your mouth. You talk too much. And that's not even counting the plethora of talent around those guys. The Sean Livingstons, the Barbosas, the Andrew Wiggins, the Jordan Pooles, who you also chased off. Cut it out. Draymond, you're the backpack jump shooter. You're the guy that everyone leaves open. No one guards you. There are hours and hours and hours of film of just you being left wide open. In fact, anybody can just YouTube or Google or watch any Draymond game ever, and he's open all game. There are clips of you getting a rebound and just driving in a straight line and just getting a wide open layup because everyone's fanning out to guard the actual talent on the team. Talk about Steve Kerr hindered your career. Bro, Steve Kerr made your career. How dare you? Coming at me? Are you kidding me? I wish I could give my son $200 million if I was a coach. Yo, the NBA doesn't give coaching jobs to guys who may or may not sucker punch one of the players and staff. You need to fall back, Dre. Let's just be frenemies.
That's how you put somebody in their place. Because for me, it's just like, yes, Austin Rivers is a lesser player than Draymond Green in their careers. But just because Austin Rivers is a lesser player than you in your career, you feel that he doesn't have the right to speak to you, which is bullshit. Mm-hmm. He's a frat brother just like anybody else. He played in the league. It's not like he played 2 years and was out of the league. He played 11 years in the NBA. That's not bad. You played 14 years. You're still with the same team. Shouts to you. Salute. It's an accomplishment. You won 4 championships. You're a part of one of the greatest dynasties in sports history. Cool. But that doesn't give you the right to be able to clap with a dude that's literally just telling you, hey, listen, I don't necessarily believe what you're saying is all that valid because, yeah, you might have had the pathway to put up more points, but would that really equate to you winning more championships? The answer is no. Your role was the point forward to set up Steph Curry, set up Klay Thompson, and play Hall of Fame level defense and be the emotional enforcer for this team. That was your role. You believed that you deserved a higher role when you really didn't. When Kevin Durant got here, Kevin Durant was the guy. So you think that they were going to set plays for you? So you were going to you were supposed to get a play package between Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry? What plays are they running for you when you got those 3? There's one basketball. We're not running no damn plays for you. You grab an offensive rebound and you kick that motherfucker back out. That's your role on this team. I say that because there's always had to be some level of sacrifice for players. Chris Bosh is a part of the Miami Heat dynasty. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. They call them the Heatles. LeBron James was LeBron James. Dwayne Wade was able to figure out his game in regards to, finding his spots to be able to be effective. You know whose game got affected the most out of the three? Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh had to become a stretch four. What that means, Silent Assassin, is that a guy 6'9", 6'10", almost 6'11", had to stretch out to the three-point line because LeBron James needed more room to be able to create, get to the basket, find open shooters. So because of that, Chris Bosh had to start playing the outside. It's had to develop a three-point shot because that way he was going to be a lot more effective playing with a LeBron James. There was no plays really run for Chris Bosh like that. I think they probably had a package where there's a 5% package in there, 10% package maybe for him. But he had to find different ways to be able to get open and be effective. He had to sacrifice his game because coming from Toronto, he was a 20-10 guy. When he was with Miami, he was more of a 15-7 guy, 16-7 guy, 18-8 guy. You had to do things to be able to help your team. It's not your skill set. Chris Bosh can average 30 if he wanted to. That's not what the team required of him. That's not what Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat required of him. They required sacrifice from a great player. And because of that sacrifice, they won 2 out of 4 championships. Got to 4 straight NBA finals. Those are the sacrifices that a lot of role players have to make. Superstars don't make sacrifices. It's the role players that do. And Draymond Green was a star in his role. He was a superstar role player, or star role player, if you want to say that. But just because you are on Mount Rushmore of role players doesn't necessarily mean you have to kick somebody else's back in because you don't agree with what they said. Because you feel that he's not on the same level. Then how many players are on the same level that can be able to have the conversation? And here's what goes into my next point.
Nobody wins when they're 37, 38.
You said what you said. I want to hear if he believes what you're talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal is just to not look like you in the Houston Rockets uniform.
Yeah.
Is ultimately the goal for us. Like, we don't want to.
What does that look like?
Did you see it?
I'm just asking.
I saw it.
Nobody wins when they're 30.
By Mario.
So Charles Barkley.
Nobody wins when they're 37, 38.
You said what you said.
Charles Barkley said that the Warriors dynasty is over, right? Nobody necessarily wins championships when they're 37, 38 years old in the NBA. It's very hard to do because you've been together so long. There's attrition. There's wear and tear. It's just over, right? Like Steve Kerr's thinking about coming back to. They just need to rip the fucking Band-Aid off and just blow it up. That's what they need to do. I've said that the Warriors are done. I said that to start the season. They were done. And boy, oh boy, was I right. They're done. It's been a great ride. 14 years, 4 championships, many playoff appearances, many finals appearances. But it's over. It's over. And that's all Charles Barkley was saying to him. And his response to Charles Barkley, maybe he was trying to be tongue-in-cheek, but it fell on deaf ears because it wasn't funny. Because he was saying, oh, well, we just don't want to look like Charles Barkley with the Rockets. What does that mean? Because the first year of Charles Barkley with the Rockets, he averaged 19 and 14. What are we talking about? If you go ahead and compare Charles Barkley's 4-year tenure, his last 4 years with the Rockets and Draymond's last 4 years with the Golden State Warriors, they're not even close. Even when Charles Barkley was washed up, he said himself he couldn't even play basketball anymore. He was still 15 and 10. He was still a beast. Draymond's best year in his career, he averaged a little under 15 points a game. So again, when you go ahead and you have legends that are giving you game, and Charles Barkley is one of the greatest, commentators, analysts of our time. And the one thing that I love about him is that he can joke on himself. Self-depreciating or self-deprecating or whatever they call it, right? Like, he knows how to laugh at himself. In a situation where Charles Barkley is being funny and saying, yo, you an old-ass dude now, man. You need to be sitting over here with us. Like, your dynasty's over. It's a wrap. Instead of you playing into it and being funny and being cool, you end up trying to still puff your chest out. That don't make sense. Your run is over. You're not going to be an elite team anymore. It came out of your mouth that you might not be a championship caliber team going forward. So you guys have to reassess or redefine what you feel is like clutch, or what you redefine as winning or successful. So there's a lot that goes into this. So it's not just, Charles Barkley he doesn't have the right to say it. Every player, every writer has an opinion, and they have the right to be able to express that. Austin Rivers did his, Charles Barkley did his, and in both situations, you don't handle yourself well. So it's more of a Draymond thing than it is anything else. He needs to grow up and realize that criticism is okay. And just because guys don't have 4 championships doesn't mean that they can't necessarily dissect whatever you said and have an opinion on it. Whatever you said was public record. Whatever you said was in the public zeitgeist. Somebody can be able to comment on that. You have the right to respond, and they also have the right to respond. So, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's just like, come on, dude. Get over yourself. Moving on. The Boston Celtics might have jeopardized their present and their future. For what? I don't know. Remember, I sat here on this show and I said to you, why is Jayson Tatum gearing up to return? Remember that? Mm-hmm. I said it's a bad idea to have this young guy, who's one of the great players in our league, to sacrifice coming back for what? They've played so well without him. They secured the number 2 seed pretty much without him. Why would you jeopardize coming back? When you have a bad Achilles injury that he had, and you have surgery, they did the new procedure and all that stuff where the Achilles heals a lot faster. He got back on the court sooner than a lot of people thought he could. Defied a lot of the odds, and that's great. But that still doesn't mean that you should rush yourself back. And my particular thing is this too. What training staff, what medical staff is going to say, yeah, let's go ahead and clear him to return for full contact basketball when his conditioning is down? You're still rehabbing from an Achilles tear. You have to take your time. That's why they always say ACLs, Achilles, it's always a year recovery, year plus. If you can be able to do more than the year, then it's only going to help you. The more time that you sit out and recover is always going to be better for the injury. You're going to be able to be more well rested. The injury is going to fully heal, and then you can be able to start your rehab program and be able to start ramping yourself back up, knowing that you're 100%. I don't believe that Jayson Tatum was ever 100%. That's the issue that I'm having. And I can now understand, like, even if he is cleared, where's the minutes restriction? You literally had this kid playing 35 minutes a game. So you go from tearing your Achilles to not playing the bulk of the season, missing all but 16 games. And then they're ramping you up for 35 plus minutes a game? You have to be a stupid ass coach to do something like that. Brad Stevens has to be a dumbass executive to be able to allow the coach to do this with your star player. In game 5 or game 6, whatever game it was, the last game that he played in the playoffs with the Sixers, they literally taped his calf up. He's rubbing his calf to try to, I don't know, massage it or try to get some sensation. Maybe it was just bothering him. But guess what? Why is he rubbing the calf, Silent Assassin? It's because it's all attached. That means that he's having issues with the repair. And then they want to go ahead and go bullshit us and say, oh, he's battling a knee injury, so he's not gonna be cleared for game 7. Really? He has a knee injury, but his calf was all taped up. And maybe he does have a knee injury. You know why? Because you're overcompensating. I tore my Achilles. I tore every ligament in my right knee, right? When I got back to running and playing, I started developing pain on my left knee and my left hip. You know why? Because everything about your gait in regards to how you run, how you plant, how you start and stop is all changed because you're still favoring your injury. So now you're putting way more pressure on the strong side, the healthy side, and now you're going to cause more wear and tear and damage on that side. That's just natural progression in regards to how people react to injuries in a fear of re-injury. But instead of playing this kid 20 minutes a game or not playing him at all, you have him play 35 effing minutes. So I can honestly believe what I saw is this guy is not going to be ready for the regular season because now he has to try to, still rehab the Achilles, and maybe he has another injury. So now you have to rehab both of these injuries at the same time instead of having a clean summer where you're just literally doing maintenance work and being able to continue to heal and repair the Achilles. Which road makes sense? You playing 16 games and you possibly helping them win a Game 7 first round series, or you sitting out the entire year and you being ready to roll with a team that won 56 games the year prior without you? It's amazing how stupid people are. It's amazing what stupid ass decisions these teams make. But at the same time, too, it's also the player. You have to know what's more important. You guys won a championship already. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to come back and help your team, but you got to play the long game. What's more important? Me coming back in a very, very shortened, fragmented season that I can be able to have some type of contributions to, which he was playing very well. I'm not saying he wasn't. He wasn't playing bad. But you know that you can play, but that doesn't mean that you should play. So now let's see what happens with Jayson Tatum, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Moving on. Joel Embiid. Missed game 2. between the Knicks and the Sixers. Knicks are up 2-0 in a game 2 that was very, very, neck and neck. The Sixers had every opportunity to win that game in game 2. They went 4 for 19, I believe, in the fourth quarter. Couldn't hit a shot. Tyrese Maxey, amazing. Edgecombe, amazing. These guys are really great players. Jalen Brunson sealed the deal for the Knicks. OG Anunoby got hurt for the Knicks. Hamstring. I think he's going to be out for game 3. But I want to focus on Joel Embiid. Like, Joel Embiid came back in that Boston series and impacted that series against Boston. Boston was in control before Embiid inserted himself into the series because he had the appendectomy. He was out for a while, came back, and he dominated the series. He was the reason why the Sixers found their edge and they were able to topple the Celtics in 7 games, coming back from a 3-1 deficit. The biggest issue with Embiid is you will see pockets of greatness, right? We've seen him win MVPs or an MVP, but we've also seen him miss so many games that at this point it's comical. He's missed more games than he's played, I believe, in his career. For the first 2 years of his career, Embiid was hurt. He didn't play. He didn't play. He came into year 3 and was the man. This is a guy who continuously is not available for his team in the playoffs. Sad part is that Embiid played very well. The Sixers played very well without Embiid in game 2. Yeah, they didn't make some shots down the stretch, but their net rating, their offensive net rating is higher when he's not on the floor. Why? Because he's a slow, plodding center that needs the ball, that slows everything down. When you got guys like Edgecombe and you got guys like Tyrese Maxey, you can run up tempo. You can be able to push the offense. You can be able to play a faster style that kind of is better for their games. So I'm not saying that Embiid is not a good player, but I think it might be time for the Sixers to change course here, to course correct. You may have to move on from Embiid and turn the keys over to Tyrese Maxey because he just doesn't fit this team anymore. It's too much of a liability to have a guy that can be great today, out tomorrow. Great the next 2 days, out for the next 3. There's no consistency there. There's no stability. There's no trust. His body is breaking down. It's been breaking down for a very long time. He's a skilled, talented player, but his body is failing him. That's the problem. So at some point, they're going to have to figure it out. I believe they're going to lose the series. So when they do lose this series, there's going to have some conversations. They have to move on from Embiid. I don't know what they're going to be able to get, but they have to find a way to move on from Embiid. Because it's time now. It's just time. It's not necessarily his fault. When your body fails you, it's not anybody's fault. It's just, I don't believe that it's a lack of nutrition or, exercise or whatever it is. Some people, their bodies just fail them after a while in regards to sports. We've seen this no matter what sport it is. We've seen Griffey's body failed him at age 30. And why did his body fail him at age 30? Is because he was out in center field for 11 years, throwing his body around, running around, and being able to play Hall of Fame elite Gold Glove defense and still have to go ahead and put up 40, 50 home runs as well. There was a lot of wear and tear on that body. His body gave out on him to the point where he had to sit out a couple of years in and out of Cincinnati's lineup until he got healthy again later on in his life, in his career. But at that point, this was a guy that was projected to hit 850 home runs. Still finished with 630, which is crazy, but could you imagine what he could have did? But his body failed him. So, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate when those things happen. But the Sixers have to think about their future and they have to move on. Moving on. I've had enough. I understand that the Lakers are up against it. I get it. I understand that they're going against the NBA champions. I understand that. I understand that they're going against one of the most skilled teams out there. I understand that. I understand that they're going against Sam Presti, who's pretty much the best talent evaluator and GM in all of basketball. I understand that. But what I don't like is all of those things I mentioned has nothing to do with the referees as well. Like, you can't have the best team, one of the best players, a very good organization, how they're run, and then also have the referees just allow you to do whatever the fuck you want to do. What I witnessed today and what many Lakers fans witnessed is not basketball. It's literally a one-sided fucking affair. Now, if you want to just give them the series, go ahead. We'll just forfeit the fucking series. But it was so bad. I've never seen this in all of my life watching basketball. The entire Lakers team surrounded the referees after the game to voice their grievances. That doesn't make sense. How a whole referee staff can miss that many fucking calls in one basketball game. There was a situation where I believe it was either the third or the fourth quarter. LeBron James is going to the basket. He drives right. Guy slides in front of LeBron, bumps him, literally just kind of puts his shoulder into him. LeBron absorbs the contact, hits the shot. That's called a continuation foul. When you foul me while I'm in the continuation of my shot, if I make this shot, it's called an and one. I score the bucket and I go to the line for one. The referees said it was no bucket. How is that virtually possible? I've been watching basketball my whole fucking life. That rule has been in my whole life. This is when basketball isn't fun. Because you have the best team. They already are the best team in basketball. Yet you're now going to give them more of an advantage. Why? Because they're the champs? I don't understand how refereeing works. Why don't you just ref the fucking game the way it's supposed to be refed? Why do you have to give another team or another person an edge over somebody else? A foul is a fucking foul. Am I bugging, Silent Assassin? A foul is a foul. That's like if a team wins the World Series, the Dodgers win the World Series today, and they come back next season, all of a sudden they have a brand new strike zone. They have their own strike zone. You understand how stupid that sounds?
Yeah, like that's something that's textbook. Like it doesn't matter who it's against or player, team, whatever. It's in the book.
Yeah. You call the game the way you're supposed to call the game. How do you apply favoritism to a team that's already good? Mm-hmm. So the opposite team literally has to play a perfect game just to win? That doesn't make sense. If the team is better than you and the game is called fair and they still blow you out, then cool. Mm-hmm. Charge it to the game. Mm-hmm. That's the way it works. I understand that the Lakers were in an uphill battle against this team. I didn't realize that you had to go you had to go play the refs too. Mm-hmm. So not only are you playing 5-on-5, you playing 5-on-8, 5-on-9. What are we doing?
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna get like kind of sore loser comments on stuff, but like when it's like blatant like that, and you could see that these calls are being favored to the other team, like what does the NBA do about that? Like,
that's the problem, right? There is no ramifications. There are no consequences for a ref to be shitty. They don't get demoted. They don't get fined. Nothing happens to them. They can be as bad as they want to be. And you as the player, you can't respond. So you suck at your job. I can't tell you that you suck at your job because you're going to go ahead and tee me up. Or in baseball, you're going to throw me out of the game. It's just dumb. That's not basketball. Like, I am not somebody who tends to, disparage SGA, who's a star player on the Thunder, because they said that he foul baits a lot and he flops a lot and all that stuff. It is what it is. But when it's blatantly obvious of what's happening on the court, when the officiating is that bad, it's unwatchable. You don't want to turn a playoff game into something that people don't want to watch. The Lakers are one of the biggest markets and one of the biggest teams in the league. You don't want to just shut them off and shut their fan base off just because of how poorly you officiated these first two games. Game 2 was even more horrendous than game 1. Again, I've never seen somebody get bumped. They're in the midst of getting bumped and they hit a shot and the ref just like, yeah, no shot. The fuck are you watching? So Lakers are down 0-2, going back to LA. It's not a shock. I was hoping that they got a split. Somehow they caught lightning in a bottle. They got hot. Knocked a couple of threes down and kind of took OKC, and kind of shocked them a little bit. It didn't happen. We're going back to LA. So let's see what happens there. I don't expect the Lakers to win this series. I never expected the Lakers to win this series. But I do expect that the games are called fairly. Just call the games fairly. Let the guys figure it out on the court and let the refs not play such a dominating role into who wins and who loses. It's not fair. And yeah, it may sound like sour grapes, but it's so egregious that I don't know any other way to respond. Like that's just not basketball. That's not what we witness is not basketball. And if you go into the comments of all the videos that's happening on social media right now, everybody's saying the same thing. I don't even know what I watched tonight. It's just terrible. But if we're going to stick on the Lakers for a little bit, yeah, dog. I think it's about time they pack up Austin Reeves and send him somewhere. I want to send him to Mars because he's good. But they're going to have to... He's not a playoff performer. That's a concern. If you're going to pay a guy $40+ million a year, you need to get something in the playoffs. Since he's been on this team, he has not produced in the playoffs. That's a problem. He is the white version of James Harden. I don't know how else I can put it. Great in the regular season. Austin Reeves looks like the white mamba, right? Like he's just Larry Bird, just doing whatever he got to do to get buckets. The man is smooth as hell. Great game. But when it comes to the playoffs, Austin Reeves turns into Steve Austin. Bob Austin. Bob Reeves. Christopher Reeves. Like, he's just not the same guy. It's a different person. And if you're going to pay somebody that type of money, you need to have some type of reassurance that this guy's going to step up in the playoffs. There's no Luka. Luka's not playing. He has a bad hamstring. He's not coming back. So that means that you are either the number one or you're behind LeBron James as the number two. Either way, you have to step up. If you do not step up, the Lakers have no fucking shot. And if they don't have a shot with you, then that means that maybe they should move on from you. And I'm not saying that they should just let you walk in free agency. No. Sign and trade you wherever you want to go. You want to go to Clippers if you want to. You want to stay in LA. But you can't stay here. And I'm willing to change my opinion if I do see a strong performance ending this series. It's the race to 4. It's not over yet, but I need to see some fight from Austin Reeves. I just do. I haven't seen that. So, as a Laker fan, I'm not happy, man. I just, it's one thing to be a Laker fan and you got everybody talking about you, you got everybody laughing and all this other shit. But to have a score 125-107, like team stats. Let's go ahead and look at it. So free throw disparity is not that bad. 21 of 26 for OKC, 18 of 21 for the Lakers. But when you look, 26 fouls for the Lakers. We're not a team that fouls a lot. 21 fouls for them. They're a team that fouls a lot. Let's go ahead and look at the box score. Austin Reeves, listen, had a good game today. You need to continue. This needs to be something that we see on a constant basis. You can't go from scoring 31 points in game 2 and then go ahead and having a bad shooting night in game 4 or game 3 and have the team on the brink of losing. You need to be the guy. If you want to get paid, if you want to be the guy that's supposed to be next to the guy, then you got to step up. There's a reason why Juan Soto is a star. Because we've seen him step up not only in the regular season, but he steps up in the playoffs. There's a reason why A-Rod used to get called, they had some names for, I can't remember what it was, the fact that he couldn't make it in the playoffs. But he had to prove in 2009 that he can carry a team, and he did that. Barry Bonds struggled in the playoffs in his career. 2002 was a different story. He and Jeff Kent and a whole bunch of Benito Santiago, all of these guys got the Giants to the World Series, and he had a historic run of the home runs that he hit in those playoffs. Had a great World Series as well. They came up short, but he showed his ability to be able to be a great player that can help his team win. When you have great players, that's what you want to see. You don't want to see them disappear when it matters the most. Regular season, okay, cool. Yeah. You need to do it when it counts. Jackson Dart for you. He can be able to throw 50 touchdowns in the regular season, but what happens in the playoffs and he has a dud? And then that's 4 straight years he throws duds in the playoffs. What's going to be his reputation?
Can't play in the playoffs.
Can't fucking play in the playoffs. What's Aaron Rodgers' MO right now? He has 1 Super Bowl, but you look at the totality of his playoff career, it doesn't look good. That 1 Super Bowl is great, but everything else looks like shit. Because he has not really... He hasn't performed in the playoffs. And that's a concern.
Aaron Judge, how many MVPs can't
exactly
get in the playoffs?
How many home run records you gonna have? How many MVPs you gonna win? And you look like you look like that. You look like Richie Sexton in the playoffs. You don't look like the same player. Mm-hmm. Can't hit. So what does it matter how many home runs you get hit in the regular season? What do you do when it matters? Mm-hmm. That matters for your legacy. It does. So, I just the frustration that I have, man. It's so hard to play a team that's virtually perfect in the Thunder, and you also have the refs also doing bullshit. It's just super frustrating as a fan. We already know that they're a better team than us. We already know that we're outmatched. No Vando. So which means that guys have to play perfect. So just very annoyed. I'm very annoyed. Moving on. I did mention what's his name? Jaylen Brown. I don't really care about Jaylen Brown. He said some wild shit about like the referees and Embiid flopping and shit. I think it was last week. Like, get over it, dude. Like, for you to be crying over losing in the first round, like, what did you do to help your team win? Did you do enough? No, you didn't. And you mad because Embiid came back and whipped your ass. And you want to cry, spill milk. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be that guy to cry about flopping and all that stuff. I can say that because I'm a fan. You're a player. You have a way to be able to fix that and help your team get over the hump. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. So you end up looking like a chump and a baby and somebody who doesn't hold himself accountable. Take accountability. Leaders don't do what you do. Leaders say, we came up short, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to figure it out and we're going to come back next year stronger. You don't go to your Twitch channel and start breaking down how many calls the refs missed or how much flopping Embiid does. What about your flopping? What about what you do in regards to spray tanning your head? Spraying a hairline on your scalp. Nobody said nothing to you when you rubbed your whole hairline on OG's jersey. Josh Hart's jersey, wherever it was. You kidding me? I can't stand people who don't take accountability, especially when you're in a position of power. You're the leader of the team. You're the best player on this team, especially when Jayson Tatum's not there. What did you do to stop this? What did you do to help your team get over the hump? Nothing. So you need to sit there and you need to take accountability and shut the fuck up. That sounded harsh, but I don't care. JJ Redick is JJ Redick says LeBron James has the worst whistle of any star player, and I agree. I don't understand it. It's super frustrating. Moving on. Do I have any irrelevant news? I wouldn't even say it's irrelevant news. I would say that, did you hear that they sentenced the guy that did those terrible things to that little girl?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sentenced him to death. And for me, I'm just like, no. I don't accept that. Mm-hmm. I believe that he should be in Gen Pop for the rest of his life. Letting him off easy?
Yeah. Yeah. You have to like sit there and let him just rot and all the bad things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let it be a continuous loop. Mm-hmm. Groundhog Day. Mm-hmm. Leave the cell door open. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I don't even get why the death penalties still really exist, even for whatever crime. I don't know. I feel like that just in general should kind of be taken out and just whatever situation is, just let the person stay in prison like the rest of their lives or whatever it may be. So just in a general, I'm not really a big fan of it, but stuff like that too, you need to make them suffer for what they did, especially when it's to like a child as well. Like,
Oh yeah,
they-
I I'm a big advocate for. Listen, white collar crimes and blue collar crimes and big time felonies are not the same as like hurting a child. You hurt a child, you need to be sent to the worst place possible to see what life is and how you're going to be able to survive every day. You don't deserve anything nice. You don't deserve a meal. You don't deserve anything humane when you go ahead and you harm children. You're a white collar crime and you somebody that just, you did some wild stuff, you just embezzled some money, or okay. It's all right. Regular jail for you. But when you hurt children, there should be a special place that they send you. You see how they like to send all these immigrants to these terrible places, Seacot and all these horrible places these ICE facilities that they're getting treated poorly. That's where you should send these child, I want to say the word, but these people that hurt children. They shouldn't get anything.
Yeah.
They should be tortured and every day a different one. Different method, and I'll let you choose it. That's psychiatric. Oh, not psyche. I can't remember the word. It's psychological. Yes, it's psychological torture. If I let you choose your torture, okay, you got this on Monday. This is what's available to you. You got to choose one.
Just do like a bunch of like saw traps, but like
yes,
have them solve it just before, they're killed. So then you just
that's not a bad idea.
Missing some fingers, missing a leg.
That's pretty good.
All these things.
You set up like a saw chamber for these. Yeah. Let's play a game. You like to judge children. I'm telling you, that would be good. That's good. But yeah, man, it's just, I keep replaying. that video in my head, man. Him driving that truck, and that little girl is just in the back. Just doesn't know where she's going.
Yeah. For the videos, I didn't really watch that much 'cause I don't really know if I want to. Just, I know like there was, I didn't see like the photo or the picture where she kind of is like standing there like in the opening.
That one.
And then the other video I saw was after the fact when he is calling his work, asking for the same truck for the following. He's like, oh, I got sick or whatever in the back. Turns out, what he did, and there was a mess back there. It's just horrible. It's just, I don't know, like whatever his voice is in his head, whatever, it's just, I don't know. It's a lot to kind of think about, so it's just not ever called for, no matter what you're hearing, so.
I don't care how many voices you got in your head. You need to go to Gen Pop so they can talk to all of them.
Yeah.
Whatever voice wants to come out today, we'll deal with that one too. But for you to get off easy, nah. I don't believe in that. See, I believe in the justice system. I do. When it's working properly. But in some cases like this, I don't think there was any justice here. I'm sure the family has some type of closure, and I guess that's good, but nah, just don't sit well with me. I don't have a dummy, and we're not going to do a dummy today, because I am just going to get right into it. This week's PSA. This week's PSA, it's a runaway train. It's becoming a thing by itself. Last week's was pretty good. We continue to thrive to get better. On this week's PSA, there's a lot that I'm going to discuss. The biggest thing that I'm going to discuss is the Voting Rights Act. That's the biggest topic. Stephen A. Smith of what he said. And sprinkling some other stuff. So let's go ahead and begin, shall we? So this story here, South Carolina State University is getting their funds pulled after protesting the lieutenant governor's commencement speech. So her name is Pamela Yvette, and she is a terrible person. And the students at this college, Southern Carolina State, was just like, we don't want her here. We don't want her speaking on our behalf. Why would we want somebody that does not, express our particular beliefs here speaking her BS rhetoric? We don't want none of that stuff. And because of this now, they removed her from the commencement speech, and now they're trying to punish the school. And it's just amazing how free speech works in this country, right? Like, you have the right to protest, you have the right to be able to make change where you see fit, especially on a college campus where that's where the future is grown on college campuses. The right to protest, the right to be able to start to mold your careers and see where you want to be, if you want to go into public service, if you want to do whatever it is. And to have them be punished and have funds pulled from them just because you didn't want this crazy ass lady to speak at your graduation or whatever it is, like, this is the type of country that we're living in right now. And the vindictiveness, the nastiness, the just outright racism and bigotry and misogyny that we see on a daily basis. It's sickening. It truly is. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's just not good. Just not good, man. In other news, Donald Trump. Did you hear about this, Silent Assassin? Donald Trump said that he had a toothache and went to an outside doctor to go fix a toothache. I'm not buying it. You know why I'm not buying it? You know what's in the White House in the basement? It's a big dental office. That's where all the presidents get their dental work done. When Joe Biden had a root canal done, you know where he had it done? In the White House basement. So you're trying to tell me that you have a dental emergency that you need outside counsel to go get when you're supposed to have the best people available that come to you? Bullshit.
Usually, why would a president go out their way to find, get service? They're gonna come to you, even talking about vetting, you want the top of the line doctors, dentists, whatever, working on the president. And if it's a simple toothache routine, why do you gotta go find this special dentist when you should have the best dentist
100%
to kind of help you with that situation? So,
listen, there was no reason why anybody should believe any of that garbage. Yeah, 'cause I didn't. There was no reason for me to ever believe anything like that. It's just dumb.
Don't they say too though? it's like anything in your mouth, like, could lead up to your brain.
Yes.
Like, so he could be.
And he already has brain rot. We understand that, right?
So it could correlate. What I'm saying.
Yeah. We understand that he got brain rot. We know he does. We know he does. So they're speculating that it has to be something related to he might be having mini strokes. He might be having something like that where it's a concern. It's definitely a concern to know that they're hiding his health. You know what I mean? Like they're hiding all of these things that are going on. His cankles, his swollen ankles, the discoloration in his hands.
Blood clots, whatever.
Just the horrible way his face looks. He has a droop on one side. His gait in regards to how he walks. There was a video of him walking off of Air Force One, and he can't walk in a straight line. Mm-hmm. He was all over the place. He was drifting left, then he came back. Then he drifted right, then he drifted back left. Like, he can't walk in a straight line. That means that there's something neurologically wrong with you.
Mm. Which is like we get it. We get it. Like, why are you hiding it? It's like, we understand circumstances come at that age and whatnot. It's like, just kind of take your time and sit down and let,
Well, they're hiding it because that's what happens in an autocracy. If the autocrat shows weakness, then there's no more strength. There's no more power. Mm. People start grabbing at the throne now because just kind of like Game of Thrones. Once the king started to look like he was weak, then that's when everybody started coming from the crown.
But it's like we see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's, like, no reason to hide it at that point, like, because we see it. No matter what you say, visually, we know something's wrong. Just physical body. Like you said, like, he has the cankles. He has the whatever in his hands. Him falling over, him not walking correctly. So it's like, I don't know. Just my opinion.
No,
like,
of course.
I get it, but, like...
It's for me, I don't give a shit. Like I told you, I don't want nobody to hurt him. I just want him to die of natural causes. That's my wish for Donald Trump. Sit down. Sit down and don't wake up one day. I'm very okay with that. Very okay with that. Moving on. This brought me great joy here. Listen to this.
You accept responsibility for what I've done. I know I was in the wrong. But I want you all to know that is not me. That is not me. That's not him. I would never walk up to you and say those words to you. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. I forgive you. I forgive all of you. I'm not a big spirit like this. I do. I forgive you. And to your family, I'm sorry. It had to come to this far. But please don't think that I have any hate or anger in my heart. I'm just too short of that. And I'm saying it. I don't have time to have hate in my heart for anybody. And I do not really forgive.
Judge William McLean noted before sentencing that given the nature of the language used, heavy use of the N-word directed at the people and children at that birthday party, he said that there was no doubt that this was a racially motivated crime. And he also said driving around town in a convoy of pickup trucks with Confederate flags and waving weapons was seen as a threat, not just to this family, but to the many people who ended up calling 911 that day. He said that is why he felt like the defendants had to be held accountable. There were other people who were charged in this case. They pled. They're serving 2 to 4 years. We'll have much more.
So this is a story about a woman and her husband or boyfriend terrorized a black family at a kid's birthday party. They had Confederate flags, guns, called them all types of slurs, N-words, death threats, everything. Came in a convoy. Like the updated version of the Ku Klux Klan, right? Mm-hmm. And they thought it was all fun and games until people start calling the cops. Because a lot of people started seeing them driving around and harassing people. It wasn't just this poor kid's birthday party. They were harassing everybody in that area. And what did those people have in common? They were all black. So this couple in Georgia, she got 15 years, and her significant other got 20. Oh, and she was in court crying her eyes out to the victim, to Aisha Bryant. Oh, this is not, I just want to tell you that I'm sorry, it's not me. Sure it isn't. I always love that excuse when people say that, oh, well, I didn't mean what I said, I was just upset. So I don't say any racial things when I'm upset. I don't know anybody that does that. You have to have it in you to say it. So it's okay for you to be around your white compadres, driving around like fucking hillbillies, harassing people that don't look like you because you have nothing better to do with your lives, because none of you people probably work. You're probably living off the government. But you don't want people to take away your guns and your rights. So you feel the need to go ahead and harass people that are just trying to enjoy their day. They're not messing with you. They're not antagonizing you. I always tell people that we as black people, we don't look for retaliation. Yet you have a portion of the white population that continues to harass and continues to try to terrorize black people. Why? Because you're scared of retaliation. Mm-hmm. White Fear is a book that Roland Martin wrote. White fear is a real thing. And this is going to be a theme for what we talk about for the duration of this episode of this week's PSA. White fear is a real thing. So when I see her and her significant other crying their eyes out in court, I bathe in it. You didn't have any sympathy for these people or those kids that probably are terrorized and will never forget that day. That was okay for you. The only reason why you're crying is because you're in court and you got sentenced. But I'm sure if there was some racist cops that were on your side, you'd be out there doing it again. Because now you feel emboldened to do it. They got the hammer of Rob brought down to them because this is a deterrent. The judges said, okay, I can see how this can be able to get out of hand. So now I'm going to make an example out of you people. You see who continues to do this. I don't feel sorry for her. I don't feel sorry for her husband or her boyfriend. I don't feel sorry for the other idiots that are involved in this. It's just another example of just being black puts you at harm's way. You didn't do anything. You weren't in some wrong area. You didn't assault anybody. You were in your own confines of your own home. And people, they go ahead and they try to raid your situation. Unbelievable. Moving on.
We are now about 16 months into what has been from day one a concerted and intense targeting of black Americans, specifically by this president and by this administration. On his first full day in office, he proclaims war on diversity efforts, not only in government, but in any institution in the country over which he can exert leverage, everything from schools and universities to law firms to private businesses of every stripe. He then immediately started firing some of the highest profile black public officials in the whole U.S. government, seemingly regardless of any other thing about them. I mean, right away, we get the firing of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Charles C.Q. Brown. We get the firing of the Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden. And then it's Gwynne Wilcox from the National Labor Relations Board. And then it's Robert Primus, the chair of the Surface Transportation Board. And then it's Alvin Brown from the NTSB. And then it's Peggy Carr, the head of the National Center for Education Statistics. And then it's Willie Phillips from FERC, from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And then it's Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, and on and on and on. When Trump and his top political donor, Elon Musk, then started just lopping off huge swaths of the federal government to disastrous practical effect, the largest and most egregious cuts targeted federal agencies that employed a disproportionate number of black employees. Reporter Erica Green wrote about this a few months ago for The Times, noting that nothing had moved backwards in the federal government for black Americans this quickly or this far in over 100 years. Since Woodrow Wilson came in 1912 and resegregated the federal workforce. Quote, black employees were fired or demoted to lower-level jobs, relegated to separate and inferior lunchrooms and other facilities, and accused of making white women feel unsafe. Those who remained were humiliated. A black worker in the Postal Service was surrounded by screens, so white workers would not have to look at him. Another employee had a cage built around him to separate him from his white counterparts. A clerk in the Treasury Secretary's office was assigned to rewrite all correspondence to address black employees by their first names. The way Trump addressed the Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden, by her first name when he crowed publicly about firing her for no reason. In the year of our Lord, 2025, and now 2026, this president and this administration is not just inheriting that history from the Wilson administration, it's furthering it in its own ways. Since 1965, there has been an executive order in effect. It was signed by Lyndon Johnson, 1965. Since 1965, all federal contractors have been banned by executive order from discriminating on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin. Donald Trump rescinded that 1965 rule on his first full day in office. Less than a month later, Trump announced another rule change. They rescinded Clause 52.222-21 of the Federal Acquisition Regulation, which doesn't sound like much, but I'll tell you what the title of that is. It's Prohibition of Segregated Facilities. That's what Trump rescinded less than 1 month into being back in the White House. That section reads, quote, the contractor agrees that it does not and will not maintain or provide for its employees any segregated facilities at any of its establishments, and that it does not and will not permit its employees to perform their services at any location under its control where segregated facilities are maintained. That anti-segregation clause has been in government contracts for decades. Donald Trump overtly reached out to rescind it, which means, bluntly, that the federal government no longer explicitly prohibits contractors from having segregated restaurants, waiting rooms, and drinking fountains. Make America great again, right? We are now about 6.
What more do I have to add? What more do I have to say to paint a picture here? Is that this president is not doing things because it's Democratic against Republicans or Democrats against. It's about reversing all of the advances that black people have made because of the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. You think it's a coincidence that he took that out? His first few days in office or first couple of months? You think that's an accident? So for me, when you have black and brown people that vote for this, and then they go ahead and they tell you that they had no idea, I have 2 words for you. And they're not nice words. F you, seriously. If you're too stupid to do research, that's a you issue. Donald Trump has always been a misogynist, bigot, racist his entire life. Him and his daddy got fined for not renting to black people way back in the 70s. They got big fine for that. Remember what happened back in the 80s? I believe it was for the Central Park 5. He wanted them to be executed. And when they were exonerated, not a peep out of Donald Trump's mouth. This is the same person that birther issue with Obama. His obsession with Obama continues to this day. How dare a black man win a Nobel Peace Prize? How dare a black man win the presidency and be president for 8 years? What gives you the right to do that? And before me at that? Oh no, we can't have that. Whenever he speaks about black women, he always says the same phrasing. You ever notice this, Silent Assassin? He calls them low IQ. Why doesn't he say that about the white people? It's interesting, isn't it? S-hole countries. He literally came out and admitted the other day, I meant every word that I said about that. I do believe that black people, that, black countries are S-hole countries, okay? So how much more evidence do people need to understand who's in front of you? This is what bothers me about this country, is that I don't blame Donald Trump for being a monster. His parents raised that monster. Who I blame is the people that try to erase what he is and try to redefine what he is and redefine the people that are around him and what they're trying to do. I need everybody, not just people who look like me, but also people that look like my friend Silent Assassin, to understand that what's happening in your life is just as consequential as what happened back in the 60s. It's time to make real changes, because if you don't, as young people, there won't be a future for you. You have to try to find ways to mold what future you want now. You guys don't see color, but I want you to understand you have to. And I understand where it comes from in regards to when people say, oh, I don't see color because I look at everybody as equal. That's actually a disservice to the people who are of color. Because if you don't see color and you go ahead and you invite your black friend or your brown friend somewhere that's all white, that might not be a good environment for this person, because you don't see color, you're now putting this person in harm's way. If you did notice the color, you'd say, you know what? I love my friends so much that I know that this environment might not be that great for them. I think I'm just going to go ahead and omit going, and we can go somewhere else. That's looking out for your friend, because you're aware of color. People don't like to talk about race. So you're always putting race into everything. You know why? Because race is in everything we do. It's easy for a white person to walk the streets and say that, oh, well, there's no racism, because you don't experience it. Me as a black person, I know what a dog whistle sounds like. And I'm not talking about the whistles that the dogs hear. I'm talking about the little pockets of racism that you have to deal with every single day. Walking down the street and having somebody clutch their purse at you, right? You're not paying attention to them, but they have to do it anyway. It's kind of like that movie. You ever watch Don't Be a Menace? And there's a scene where Loke Dog and his cousin go into the store, and the Asian people are following them around. And they're telling them, hurry up and buy. Get out. Hurry up and buy. Right? And they're just chilling, just getting what they have to get. And while the Asian people are following the blacks around the supermarket or the deli, there's a white guy that's literally robbing them blind in plain sight with a whole duffel bag, and he's just cleaning out the shelves because that's exactly what America is. You fear what I look like, but you don't fear the real monsters that are right in front of you. Why? Because you've been conditioned to think that if this person is white, then they should be fine. Silent Assassin, let me ask you a question. Who commits the most egregious crimes in this country?
It's white people.
It's white men.
Mm-hmm. Just like typically when you see a R wording,
yes,
what they look like, or a mass shooting,
correct,
what they look like those are, I feel like, in America, number one pretty hefty types of crimes.
Yes,
and it's usually typically a white person or
exactly.
white male. Yeah.
So again, it's right in front of your face. But yet, media doesn't give you the information that you need. And I'm not saying that people should look at all white people as bad. No, that's not the way I grew up. That's not the way I will raise my kids. And that's not the way I associate and assimilate in life. But at the same time, you do have to understand the history. You do have to understand what they're trying to do in plain sight as we speak. That's the problem. So Rachel Maddow puts it out there as plain as day, is that Donald Trump is not in the business of trying to help America. He's trying to change it back to what it was. Everybody, when they hear the great Make America Great Again, what do you think he was talking about? What do you think he was talking about? What do you think Ronald Reagan was talking about when he said that as well? You think those two people that are using the same slogan are not, they don't have the same ideologies? That they want to go back to post-1964, the Civil Rights Act? They want to go post-1965 Voting Rights Act? Of course they do. Mm-hmm. Because they understand that the power of the vote lies with us. The last time that black people came out in droves to vote, there was a black president, and he won the landslide. And he was an 8-year president. That's what broke this country. That's why we're here. It's that simple. People can go ahead and try to do an autopsy of what's happening. It's as simple as right in front of you. The old guard, people like Donald Trump who are 79 and 80 years old, these old, rich, racist, miserable white men that believe that women shouldn't have the right to do anything but just be vessels of their pleasure. And they don't have the right to their bodily autonomy. That a white man can be able to tell you what to do with your body. They also still believe that black people are not like full people. They're a third of a person. So we should not have certain rights. So how dare a guy come along, well-spoken, handsome, The world loves him. White people like him. He's now a traitor. Those people are now traitors to their kind because they love Obama. And it started very, very small with the Tea Party, where everything Obama wanted to pass, they said no. But we all knew what that was code for. We all knew what the Tea Party was about because you heard the dog whistles. But yet the media didn't hear it. Some of white America didn't hear it. Why? Because they can't. But we heard it. And we heard it continuously get louder and louder and louder. And when he was out, what did they incubate? MAGA. Because all Donald Trump did was he just listened to the angry part of this country that still believes in Jim Crow laws, that still believes that white people should have all of the power without any blowback. They should have more representation in Congress. They should be the ones that are Fortune 500 CEOs. They should be the ones that are driving airplanes. They should be the ones that are big army generals. They should be the ones that are making all of the decisions. Everybody else doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're underqualified or not. If you're white, come along. What a way to be. Moving on. This is also going to go ahead and go into what I just said. Stephen A. Smith. And I hate to talk about Stephen A. Smith, but if the shoe fits, why not?
For one election, that every black person would vote Republican. They're like, what? How can he say that? I said, it's simple. Since 1964, the black folks, we have been giving our vote to the Democratic Party at an exorbitant rate. Therefore, they know they got our vote, and they don't have to cater to us as much as we need them to. The Republicans know they'll never get our vote, so they don't give a damn about us. And as a result, we're the only community in America devoid of representation, which is why we're considered disenfranchised. I'm tired of that. What I want is to put ourselves as a community in a position where both parties have to work to get our vote.
Can I ask you this? Do you think you covering politics like you cover politics, in the words of your mans, is that good for business, your business?
It has the potential not to be. We'll have to see. So far it is. I think I'm doing pretty good. So far it is.
A lot to unpack there. The first thing that I'll unpack is him saying that he would love for every black person to vote Republican. Why? Why? What would be the reason? Let's go ahead and go look at it. Do Republicans care about affordable child care? No. Do they care about universal health care? No. Do they care about a flat tax rate for middle-class families where they're not paying more tax percentage than billionaires in this country? No. Do they care about slashing the war budget? No. Do they care about putting back infrastructure into black communities? No. Do they care about having fair voting rights in regards to congressional seating in southern districts in this country? No. So I ask again, why should they vote Republican? Now granted, the black vote is not solely for Democratic candidates. The reason why the black vote went Democrat is because there used to be when the party switched, right? 1964 comes and Lyndon B. Johnson signs this Civil Rights Act into law, right? 1965, Voting Rights Act gets signed into law. Do you know that since 1964, that there has never been a Republican majority that has voted for a Democratic candidate for president? Why is that? Because the party that helped advance blackness is now something that they can't vote for. Do you understand what I'm saying? So why would you just blindly vote Republican if everything that you see, what the Republicans are doing in Louisiana, what they're doing in Tennessee, what they're going to be doing in Texas, what they're going to be doing in all of the southern districts down there, Mississippi, the list goes on. Why would you vote against your best interests? But again, here's the problem that I have in my own communities. And you see people like fucking Stephen A. Smith, he's dangerous. It's just like people like James Brown back in the day. Oh, we love James Brown as an entertainer. You know who James Brown voted for back in the 70s? Richard Nixon. You know, Richard Nixon was an avid racist. Hated black people. That was kind of the part of the issue about Watergate. The tapes came out and all of the things and the nasty stuff that he said about black people. But yet you had people like James Brown, who is literally a pioneer in the black community, convincing people that Richard Nixon is good for us. There's always splinters of fucking people like him. Stephen A. Smith, you got Killer Mike, you got Kanye, you got all of these people that have high influence in our society and black culture that are telling you, hold your vote. Don't vote or you need to vote the other way. How does that help us? If you give me a candidate that their policies are helping advance black culture, fine. It doesn't matter if they got a DRR next to their name. It's about helping even the playing field in regards to just having liberties. We don't want more liberties than the white man. We just want the same. You understand what I'm saying? That's the problem, is that when we want fair, they don't look at it as fair, because when you don't think about or look at people of color that are even a third of you, there's the issue. But when you have black people that splinter off like this and tell you nonsense without necessarily giving you real nuance and detailed and structure and depth of why you should, that's the fucking problem that I have. Stephen A. Smith is an idiot when it comes to politics, and that's not a shock. Most people are, because they don't understand how important their vote is. What happened in 2024 is that a lot of people stayed home. A lot of people withheld their vote. People died and got hosed and tarred and feathered for your right to fucking vote. For you to sit your ass on that couch to do nothing, shame on you. We as a country are a disgrace. So people can be mad at Donald Trump all they want. We caused this. It's our fault. Because we're not educated enough to be able to understand when there's a fox in the hen house. Because our media, our national legacy media, doesn't do a good job telling us who the villains are. Let me ask you a question. And this is just you as a lay person when it comes to politics. You think if Barack Obama was doing the same things that Donald Trump was doing, that it would be quiet?
No. Like any thing that Obama did, even though it was good to get talked about.
But could you imagine if it was bad? All the bad stuff that Trump is doing. Could you imagine if it was Barack doing that?
It would be crazy.
They would want to stone him in front of the White House for treason.
Yeah, but since it's God in our White House, it's okay.
Because it's your white hope. This is why the CNN, you got all of these other companies that don't say a fucking word. They're all complicit. They are co-conspirators in this fascist government. And when the history books are written, all of their names will be right next to it in regards to who's to blame. There are consequences to elections. Before Donald Trump got elected, I told people it's going to be really bad, really fast. Remember?
Even too, like, I always tell you, the first time around, like, my social studies teacher, he's like, this election is going to change the Hillary and Trump. This is going to change all of you in this room, everyone in the school's lives forever.
Absolutely. He was 100% right.
Yeah. So it's like, we can go back to 2016 and just like being high school, is like we're not, all of us aren't fully understanding like what he's actually saying. But
and now you know.
Everything has come true in 10 years. It's crazy.
Just think about it. Just think about the level of misogyny and racism that led us here. Right? The anger of the uneducated white man and the white woman who just allows things to happen, and they don't want that type of change. They rather be led by a terrible man than a strong woman. Hillary Clinton is the most decorated candidate to ever run for president, man or woman. There's no person that is more qualified to be a president than Hillary Rodham Clinton. Kamala Harris, pretty good as well in regards to her resume.
Just political resumes, like, got a lot longer history than Donald Trump, both of them.
Yeah.
So it's like, why, like, just being qualified for a position, it's like you see both, put all three of their resumes on a table, I'm pretty sure he would be, like, without names and whatnot, just seeing what people have done, he would be the last.
He wouldn't even be a consideration.
Yeah, it's like you see these other resumes, it's like, yeah, like, we're going with these.
Yeah.
Like, this is tossed out in the garbage. But you see a white man's name on there, then I'm going with that.
Yep. It's just amazing how, his two victories came over women. Somebody who is a misogynist and who's allegedly assaulted women. Not even allegedly. I mean, he was convicted. Ruled and convicted to harm E.G. Carroll. So it's one of those things where it's just like people continue to show you who they are, and yet we don't believe it. So at that point, who do you blame? Do you blame the person that continues to rob houses and you keep letting them in? No, I'm not going to blame the robber. I'm blaming you. So people like Stephen A. Smith, I don't pay too much attention to them, but when you say derelict stuff like this, you're a danger. Because what you're doing is you're leading people down a dangerous path. You're a Republican, cool. You want people to lean more Republican, fine. Go ahead and you go campaign for every Republican if you want to. We don't care. But when you go ahead and just blatantly go out there and say that you want people to just uniformly vote one way without where's the substance? What substance do you have? Because you don't have any.
It's like, just like, it also like depends like what does this Republican candidate want? What does this Democratic candidate want?
Yeah.
It's like you can potentially like switch sides just for an election because you agree with that side more, but not as a whole, like I'm saying, but just like
you believe in that candidate
more, which is like, okay, cool, but like to just singly just be like, this is what I think, this is I'm just gonna vote for the rest of my life, it's just not good.
It's
like
just
you have to see
right.
In everything, you have to hear out opinions and both sides and everything. Be like, oh, I agree with this, but I agree with that. I'm going this way, going that way. But primarily, as things are, it's like you are kind of getting one thing here and the other thing there.
Yeah.
But you just can't kind of go whomever is in that chair and Republican. I'm just gonna roll with that. You know, it's not a good outlook.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just like, listen. Black culture and advancing black liberties has nothing to do with a party. Black vote is not a singular thing. It's a monolith. Or we're not a monolith, honestly. We're more than a monolith. We don't have a singular focus. People are their own people. You have to earn their vote. They're not just going to automatically select D on the ballots. You gotta earn their vote. So when he talks about that we don't have representation, how do we not have representation? The minority leader of the House of Representatives is black. We have the Congressional Black Caucus that has over 50-something members. What are you talking about in regards to not having representation? There's so many judges and local state senators and stuff like that, reps that are black in every state, mostly every state. So when you talk about there's no black representation, what are you talking about? This is what I'm saying. People talk in platitudes and they talk just to talk. The next side of this is Supreme Court. They go ahead and cut down the Voting Rights Act last week. The case in Louisiana where they are able to rewrite maps based on what they deem are racist towards white people. All because you wanted to add another congressional district that is going to be able to give another seat to a black district. So could you imagine that you have 15 of these things and we're literally just trying to get 2 of them, and you throw a hissy fit to the point where you call racism, that you believe that you don't have enough representation, that you deserve to have an overrepresentation of white people in Congress? Do you know that 45 to 50% of black people reside in the South? And do you know that they don't have the same representation that they should have? So there's more black people in the South, but yet they have very, very minimal representation in regards to their elected officials in Congress. How does that make sense? So that now you have the governor. I think it's the governor of Louisiana that is literally trying to, I believe he stopped the vote. So they went ahead and put a petition out there to have the maps redrawn. Judge Alito put his name on and said, yeah, sure, you can do it now. When in 2023, I believe they said that, no, you couldn't do that. It's too close to an election. You can't do that. But now they go ahead and they changed things. So yeah, so the Louisiana governor, Governor Landry, has canceled the elections after 40,000 people sent in their absentee ballot to be able to redraw maps mid-election season. So now you're going to be able to take out all of these black districts and write in more Republican seats. And no one's talking about it outside of the people that I see in regards to, independent media, black media. You're not seeing this on a national level. How is there no outrage about this on a national level? Because again, you have co-conspirators to the fascist government. Black representation has never been so low. You know who came up with this strategy? That same guy that James Brown wanted to support, Richard Nixon, came up with something called the Southern Strategy. You know what that is? Southern Strategy was to be able to make sure that you dominate the South so that there is no black representation, there is no black majority, that you make sure that you establish dominance down here in the South where white people will always reign supreme. That was Richard Nixon's plan. How's that worked out so far? It's worked very well in regards to their dominance and their representation down there. But how has it worked for the people themselves? Still poor. They're still undereducated. But because they're white, they can be able to go ahead and feel superior. Because they have white representation, they think that they can be able to have superiority over everybody else. So when we go ahead and we make these terrible decisions, when you have people in your family or your friends that say, I find this guy kind of funny, that's why I'm going to vote for him. It's time to start calling people to the carpet. I don't care if it's your close relatives, significant other, friends, passerbys, acquaintances. You hear anybody that talks anything crazy, you have to make sure that you nip it in the bud and you check them. You have to do your part. I can sit here and I could talk about sports all day long. I can make Silent Assassin laugh as much as I want to because it's what we do down here. But at the end of the day, when things get serious, I can get there. I always used to get, as a kid, hey, why do you talk like that? You talk like a white guy. I talk like a white guy because why? I talk proper. So white people are the only people that can talk proper? Interesting. I didn't know that there was a way to speak to be black. Interesting. And I always asked them, I said, well, if you think that I'm white, then maybe you should ask me about white culture and black culture, because guess what? I know both. You know why I know both, Silent Assassin? Because you have to. This is a white country. This is dominated by white people. If you want to go ahead and you want to survive and you want to assimilate appropriately, you have to make sure that you know who you're dealing with, correct? You know the reason why white people on a whole don't understand black issues? You know why? Because they don't have to. They don't have to understand because they're the dominant race in America. Why should I have to learn about the minority, the people that are beneath me? But when somebody's ahead of you, you need to learn how to be able to assimilate in their world. And we've done such a great job with that over the last 60 years that they want to roll those things way back. Made too many advances. You've made too many strides. You guys are way, way too high over your bridges. Nah, we can't have that. So the hope and the faith lies in your generation. Gen Z is the generation that can be able to make the change. To be able to tell the old guard that whatever the fuck you guys thought, we don't care. Everybody is everybody. Love is love. That's what needs to be spread. Because now you have things in Tennessee. Tennessee state legislator is in chaos because they're also redrawing maps. They're taking out black districts. There were people that were protesting at the Capitol. Rolling back voting rights. This is the most important election, the most important time maybe in our country's history. And that's not hyperbole to say. Because if things don't switch in 2026, the path gets harder in 2028 and 2030. That's a concern. And what's the hope? The hope is that people start to wake up and realize the power that they have. 50% of the country voted. Maybe 25 to 30% of that votes in the midterms. How about we turn that into 70% turnout for the midterms? 75% turnout for the general election. Do you understand how much change that would make? For a person like Governor Landry, where there's 900 plus 100,000 black registered voters in his district, and he only won by 500,000 votes. Do the math. Right? So again, I say, if people want to go ahead and make change, instead of taking advice from grifters, or not even grifters, that people who naturally believe these things, but they're wrong. Do your research, do your homework, understand your civics, understand who your local councilmen are, who can be able to help repair your roads, fix your sidewalks. You go ahead and you talk to your comptroller, all of these people that can be able to do things that help your community grow. Instead of sitting on your ass, holding your vote and thinking that level of protest is going to do anything. All that does is just strengthen their bullshit agenda. So again, are we to blame? Absolutely we are. Can we fix it? Absolutely we can. Will we fix it? That's the question. I don't see more outrage. I don't see enough. And that's the concern. So, I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. And I've always said that it's good to be able to have a melting pot of friends because you can understand cultures, race, what their daily issues are, what the struggles are, how they go about life, and you can be able to get a well-rounded idea. There are people out there that don't want that. There are people that want things to be segregated. There are people that do not want advancement. They want things to stay the same. You your generation have to be the ones to look them in the face and lay their asses out and say, we're not dealing with your bullshit no more. This is not, your mama's protest here or your daughter's protest here in regards to they go ahead and they have their signs and they fight for equal rights and all that stuff, because there was strong protesting for the Civil Rights Act. But you know what happened over the decades, Silent Assassin? People stopped protesting as much because people got lax, people got lazy, and people got comfortable by the smaller the advances that were going on. We don't need to be out there going crazy. Oh, no, yeah, you do. Because all it took is one person to be able to break the system for you to go right back to where you didn't want to go. So again, you have to be the ones to stop these people from trying to manipulate our elections, from trying to manipulate state legislation, and make sure that you do your part into pushing the proper agendas to be able to help this country grow. That's what's important. So, any final words?
It's just like crazy to see like a lot of people like in a lifetime like saw change, and then now it's just going right back to like all the work that was put in and then
erased.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Because like it wasn't that long ago where it was changed, and now we're just back to square one essentially. So.
Yep. And I need your generation to get angry. You don't have to be violent, but you need to get into some good trouble as a collective to be able to spark the change that's needed in this country. You have more years ahead of you than you have behind you. There are people that are 50 and 60 that don't have that many years in front of them as they have behind them. You guys are the ones that are going to spark real change in this country in regards to taxing the billionaires, making sure that they pay their fair share, fight for equal rights, fight for universal health care, fight for these things that should just be, kind of birthrights. You're born in this country, you automatically have free health care. It's just the way it's supposed to go. So, on that note, this is a very different type of pod today. I mean, I always get pretty educational and stuff like that and drop some bars, but it's a different tone because it has to be, to show people the importance of voting. Again, every election has consequences. The consequences of us voting for that piece of shit is going to send ripple effects throughout the annals of time and history, and not in a good way. So, until next week, stay safe, stay cool. Peace.